Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Biblical Britain Uncoded. A big welcome as well to new subscribers. It's good to see that we're getting people on the channel. I hope the people that are watching enjoying it. This is part 3 of Solomon's tricks. Well, effectively Solomon's Tricksy code. Although we've sort of decoded that bit, we're now moving on, and we're about to decode some other incredible stuff, or on the whole, all relating to Solomon. The first one connects Egypt, which I've done in previous videos, but I've been led to it, and quite outstanding. Right, if you'll just roll with me, right, the first one I'm going to do, okay, is Orion's sword. Okay, now what this is Orion's words. Okay, obviously connects to obviously there's an Orion message as well, which I'll write up in a second, which is a riddle. But the sword itself actually has a very clever code in it. Right, it's actually called Orion. Well, this is obviously an anagram. Orion's and sword is words. So Orion's words. So what are Orion's words, as well as the riddle? Right, the Orion's sword is actually called the M42 Nebula. Okay, now to break this code, it's absolute genius putting the M in the front of it. It's an M, and then what you do is you write the actual number and write that in. So you replace the numbers with the word, basically, obviously, is Orion's words. Okay, now what this one actually says is it says, right, it's difficult to know which way around to put this, but I'll just let's go with okay, my 2-4 be lunar. Right, if you obviously this is part 3 of this, so this may not make a great deal of sense if you're new to it. But basically, the coding in Solomon's pillars is you using the Cancer constellation, overlaying it on the ground, and what you have, and what it does. This is Holy Head, Wales, which is what is known as biblical Judah, but it's it's Judah with a Y. And you know, even the Jews, everything, you know, Joseph is Joseph, and the J is just a Roman added deception. That was been added into the English alphabet, I think, the J in the 16th century. So it clearly wasn't there on the original. Okay, now you've got Canaan, which is Swindon, or is pinpointed as Swindon on the map. When you use these 2 pillars, use what you've got at the top of the 2 pillars. This would go into the pillar. This one was got stars, so it's seen as a star map. The other pillar of Solomon has got the world on it, or whatever, the land, and these obviously come down and they place onto these. Then what you have is you have your 2 forts. You've got Kaiwent, which is the decoded Jerusalem, and then you've got the decoded Land Melin, which is your your Mel H. Okay, so you've got your G and your H, and if you've been following on, this connects the 2 pillars, the Royal Arch. So you've got your RGH, which is your RG and your H. Because this is classed as the H, this is classed as the G, and then obviously you've got your R for your Royal, so you've got your, which is then the Royal Gwent Hospital. But what it effectively is, it's a combined, sorry, this is the Egypt represented by Exeter on the map. It's the Exodus. If you go back over the other videos, if you haven't watched them, this will make more sense because it's even encoded in the first 4 books of the Torah. Right, then what you have, you've got K-E-Y, which is your key, your initial key. You've got S-E-E-K, which is seek. You've also got Y-E-S. You've got, well, basically, to go into that code completely, I've done it in previous videos. But what this says is my 2 forts be lunar. So this is your first fort, this is your second fort. And as you know, I've been doing it all along. And then what I do is I draw the moon sign and highlight the combined nation safe zone. So the 2 forts, and the pinpoint would actually be Jerusalem, so it would be a little bit lower than this. But how wide and far out this goes, I do not know. But I do know that the meeting place is at the lock, you know, on the temple. You've got the lock, and then you've got the other fort, Merlin H, which is in the shape of the key. You lock the 2 together. Okay, so just the first one. So Orion's words actually relates directly to this Solomon safe code and the Cancer constellation overlaying onto the Earth, the moon highlighting the sun of the moon sign in Cancer, which is me. That's why I have a sun and with a face on it, a moon, and then this royal arch is also Cancer, which is why you use the template of the Cancer constellation to overlay onto the map. This is Holyhead, Wales, Exeter, Egypt, and Swindon, Canaan. Okay, 2 seconds. Okay, folks, as you can see, right, on the board is Orion's riddle. Orion's riddle is made up of all the stars in Orion, basically, all the named stars in Orion. You unscramble it, and this is the message you get. An obvious one is you've got Bellatrix. So Bellatrix is one of the stars obviously in there. But once you obviously take the rest, all the names down, put them all. This is Messier, there's no H. The H is in one of the other stars, but obviously you unscramble it and this is what you get. Just to show you how this all ties together, it says, I take angel oars in a belt. Well, the angel oars in a belt, well, right, it's absolutely crazy. Firstly, Giza pyramid, Giza, and then it's pyramid. So, and this, Marco keeps Ankh, Freeze H, is actually I'm going by code, but I'm an angel by all accounts. I don't remember anything about it, but I keep getting it over and over and over, an archangel, and I've been sent to do this mission. Sounds crazy, I admit, and I would never have believed it myself in a million years, but had I not seen this, because this is so comprehensive that I'm at a loss to find out how this can be wrong. Okay, so I take angel oars in a belt. So what this Marco keeps Ankh. Well, I got the Ankh. It's on my original map. And then when you keep, and I'll show you what that does, because when you mix it with the tau, which I'll show you in a little while, basically you unscramble that and it says a thank you. Okay, and I'm assuming, well, maybe that's from Solomon, I don't know, for breaking his curse or revealing the truth about what's been hidden. But it's all down to the Creator Yahweh, obviously, who's the one that gives me all this information. Not in a talking sense as such, but right, anyway, right, Marco keeps Ankh, Freeze H. That is made up of the name of the 3 pyramids of Giza. It's Cheops, Menacua, and Khafre. Basically, when you unscramble the belt of, well, you know, obviously that's made up the belt of Orion. Then what you get is what you get. Marco keeps Ankh, a Freeze H. H is the H man. If you've been watching this, you'll understand that already. But a bit more probably to come on that. If I got time today, I'll do that one. Obviously, I take Jerusalem. Well, these are actually the 2 forts that he's talking about. G-Rus is Coent. It was named after the constellation G-Rus. And this one's named after Clan Melin, which decodes to some Clan Melvin. Again, this decodes to my name as well, which I will show a little bit later on, because I found, well, something absolutely incredible that ties all this together. But basically, you take Jerusalem, well, that's my 2 forts, and then you do the Cancer constellation coming off the top of the 2 pyramids, the 2 pillars. You've got the Royal Arch of Cancer, which is, you know, your Cancer sign is royal. So you've got your royal, this is your G, the Jerus, this is the G, the lock, and then obviously again this is Melin H, which is the key. The H comes from the order of Melchizedek as an instruction. In the Old Testament, it says something, a priest forever in the order of Melchizedek. I make you a priest forever in the order of Melchizedek. It's something, it's along those lines. But when you break the word Melchizedek down, it says C Mel, and we all know with the trick C that instantly puts it, and it is, and because it's related to the Mel, the key, it's obviously so locking in Mon's key, which is King Solomon's key, basically, as you'll know from the previous videos. Okay, so Marco keeps Ankh freeze H. So this is, I take angels in a belt. So, like I say, well, like I say, I have no memory, but either way, I take Jerusalem, and then what they did, they built this. The city of David. And that is the key to the city of David. The city of David is Caradoc. His son is Coelin ap Caradoc. He's Solomon, and his name says all the code, go and pray. I've already done that one and shown exactly how that all breaks down with the symbology. Absolutely amazing. But it says, I be all tricks in a map. And that is what this is all about. It's about the map tricks. The matrix with the added P. You take the word matrix, and your padlock is add P lock. That's why it's a padlock. And then you add P in lock. So you put the P in there. It's all map tricks. And it's also a Atlas is a last. So it's a last message using map tricks. That's effectively what this is. So that should give you an idea of where we are, and what's going on in the world is really living up to it at the moment, as you know, as you're probably aware. I don't want to frighten anyone, but I can only put out, well, you need to see this, because this is the safe zone. This is where the moon, this is where my 2 forts be lunar. This is a new code as well. This one, it's not an old one. All these other ones I'm showing you I've done before, but this one is a new one. But this one just ties it up again, because the 2 forts are G Rus and Melin. And then obviously be lunar. You put the lunar, which again I'll break down a bit more. But a Giza pyramid, the pyramids are all encoded. Yeah, it says, I show you things in ancient times, so when they happen, you'll know I did it, no one else. I am your God. I am your God. I am your Saviour. There is no other. So Jesus, I'm afraid, is just not absolute nonsense. It's not even, I don't know what they've done, whether they've taken a prophet and some sort of prophet guy and then just made him into something he isn't, but whatever. He is not coming on a white horse, I can assure you that, and out of the sky and coming and rescuing people. He says, every man, you have to save yourself, effectively. You save yourself, again, by standing a little wide, but I'll run through all that at the end. So just a quick rerun, that's Egypt. So G is your map ID. On this main map here, right, this map, it's difficult to do it with this. It's only half the pyramid, this actually, through this sits in this side, but this side goes out over here. On the main map of Britain, there's a fishtail as well. This one actually hits Tor Point, which is a Torah point. And the point of the Torah point in Cornwall, because the cornerstone of Egypt is on the Cornwall. Basically, Egypt is Cornwall. You've also got your Eye of Horus on yours. These are too high up, really, but you get the picture. But this effectively is the Eye of Horus on there, with Brecon as the eye goes, be recon, and what it does. And this one of these lines is actually a bow in here. The Ankh sits there, without confusing this too much. The Ankh sits there, the Eye of Horus would be some, I don't know, goes there, but it makes a shark one way. It's a very, very clever map. But Tor point is a point of the Torah, is a H. And if you've seen the Torah breakdown as well, and if you follow this line directly from Chroma because that tells a story in itself. I've talked about that one before. That one is about the switching of Jerusalem. This line follows straight through Swindon, Exeter, and directly hits Tor Point. Okay, the crossing of the Red Water. It's not the crossing of the Red Sea at all. It's the crossing of the Red Water. There's a place right by Exeter called, I think it's called Adder's Water or something, but when you Scrabble it says Add Red Water. So when they didn't cross the Red Sea, they've changed it to the Red Sea to fit the Middle East story, which doesn't add up either, but that's, I won't get into that. But a G is your map ID. So these pyramids really should be called the Pyramids of Gymru. The Welsh built these pre-flood. I'm 100% with that. You can read the hieroglyphics in using the Welsh language. There's a book, Hieroglyphics. It does work. I've tried it myself. And basically, the root language to those cartouches, which I'm going to show you an example of in a bit, or hopefully if I've got time. But that explains why you can read them in there. They weren't written on. I don't think the cartouches were put on, or a lot of the other buildings and pyramids. The Giza ones are pre-flood. A lot of the other stuff is where the lost tribe of yourself or Joseph, when you decode it, again I've done videos on it. When you decode it, it's the tribe of yourself, and they're called the Marco-Mannoi tribe, who were supposed to be in Germany, but they didn't. You can follow them. They're from around the area of Booth Wells, it Welsh bull, and Joseph is represented by the bull. But there's a whole thing with that as well. Okay, and the coffin at the bottom of the pillars with the skull and crossbones is the buried coffin. That represents the tribe of Joseph, or the tribe of the Marco-Mannoi. And obviously Yara's overlaid me into this matrix using my name code, so it verifies all these things. And that, unbelievably, I don't know why me, but clearly, and I didn't choose to do it as such. It sort of found me rather than I found it. But it is, it's all there, and I only show you week to week what I get. So I'll just pause you there so I can move on to the next one. Okay, so right, the next one I'm going to do are the sweet influences of the Pleiades. Okay, first thing, in the book of Job, which is effectively Job overlaid in the book of a person called Job, it's obviously an overlaid code. And I've broken a lot of the things in there, but this one is Job 28:31. It says, "Canst thou bind the sweet influences of the Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion?" Well, the first part of breaking this code, in Job, he also says, I'm not sure the chapter, but if you put Orion in, you'll pull them all up if you research it. It says, "Who maketh Orion, the Pleiades, and Arcturus?" Now, Orion, I've showed obviously a lot of the code that goes with that, because these are all obviously there for you to look at them. The next one is the Pleiades, but Arcturus actually fit right. It fits on. It works in the same way as well, because on the map there's effectively a bow. Which I know is Orion's bow. It's within a pyramid, but it's made up on the map from the two cities, an ancient stone circle, and a place called Carrow Hill, as you can see. And then in fact, if I put them in, this is number 1. This is number 2, this is number 3, and this is number 4, and that will be number 5. Okay, now what this is, so you've got your key, this one is your lock, this is actually, like I say, a stone circle, but there's a code in that itself. I couldn't break this one until recent, but it makes a whole lot of sense now, since decoding the Royal Arch basically on the last video. Right, well, what you've got, firstly, Pleiades says please ID. Crescent moon actually says, unbelievably, let's do it. Is that right? I just got crescent, bear with me, guys and girls. well, not only have you got the C secret, which is your trick C, so that ties it instantly now to, so locking in this case, it's probably so locking in, well, it's locking into Mon's temple, which is King Solomon's temple, or the key, it pretty much locks it all in, the whole symbol, that the Masonic, this is the Masonic symbol, obviously. So C secret on Mon. Well, obviously the temple of Mon, the real temple of Solomon is in Monmouthshire, the kingdom of Mon, or the borough of Mon, which is Roughbow, incidentally, Roughbow of Mon. There's no W, but bow is pretty standard anyway. Also in the Cancer constellation, this star, which fits with the bow, with the arrow crosses the bow, actually is Acellus Borealis, which is Acellus, a bow is real. So the bow is also real. So even encoded in the star constellation Cancer is the pinpoint area of where the bow goes. But it's Pleiades, the C secret on Mon. Well, we're breaking down the secret on Mon. Okay. Right, so we've got one. First, let's break these down. Right, so number one is Grey Hill Stone Circle. Now this one was driving me nuts because I couldn't work it out. It makes complete sense now. It says, Royal Gwent Hospital. I yell Royal Gwent Hospital. Obviously I'm not yelling it, but it's just telling me to make a point that it is obviously the Royal Gwent Hospital, which is your patriarchs, or three parts I arch. You've got your Royal Arch, you've got your G for Jerusalem, and then your Melin H, which is your H. So your RGH is the Royal Gwent Hospital where I was born. A little bit more on that later on because I can break that down a bit more. Right, stone circle, reverse it, circle stone. Right, the stone fort is G-Rus. So what it's telling me is to circle, like I say, I don't know how big it is, but the centre of all this, the safe zone, centre of the safe zone is Solomon's temple. That lock, the lock built into the foundations, this lock at Kyle Went, that's the actual name of the place, or Ventus Iurum as the Romans called it, but that's all part of a code of covering it up, which I uncovered. Okay, so you've got your circle stone, so you circle the stone as well, so that effectively is giving you your moon, your full moon, because obviously once you uncover the secret, you've seen the secret on Mon. Well, I have seen the secret on Mon. Then the moon comes to the full when he finds it, and obviously this is highlighting the whole area. Acellus above is real. Please ID. So we're IDing something over here. Now, this is an incredibly clever thing because this is the answer to the constellation message written in the Pleiades. Right, Clan Melin. Right, once we break this down, this comes down to Clan Melvin. I've got something phenomenal to show you on this as well, just in case there's any doubt about the coding David. King David, or Caradoc it is in old terms, is also add the ID. So what you do is you add the ID into Melin and you get Melvin. The C comes from this, on the Masonic buildings you get C. I'm not sure the order exactly. I know that's an N, it's got a full stop on it. And that one's an I. And what it is, and then you've got your G in the middle, your H, and your crown. And what it is C-M-E-L-I-N. Well, there's obviously C Melin. Oh, there's one L in Melin, not two. Let's try that again. Spell it right helps. Clan Melin. Okay. So what you overdo, you overput the C over there, which gives you your clan. You add VID, and then you get your Clan Melvin. Now, my grandfather's name was Melvin ap Robert Guy. My father's name was Melvin ap Melvin Guy. And my Welsh name as such would be Marco ap Melvin Guy. So yeah, so obviously there's more to come with that because there's more code. I've already gone through a lot of it. But okay, so when you lock in Clan Melin and Jerusalem together, all you're doing is taking G-Rus, the constellation G-Rus, which the fort is named after. They've obviously kept a Mel as well. Well, it has an A in it, but they've reversed the Mel. they reversed Mel, and then you get Lem. So Jerusalem. That's a simple decoding of it. And just to show you how crazy this is as well, the Cancer constellation, this is like I say, this is a template for different constellations. So G-Roost the Fort is also known as the Crane. Okay, so you've got Cancer overlaying the Crane. Just to show you how this locks together, it says, my pen's running out, that ain't good. It says C Crane. Well, the constellation G-Roost is also the Crane. So that shows you how the two overlock. Bear with me a second, guys. Let me just see if I've got another pen. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Right, okay, let's just try this again. Okay, so we've got, I don't know if you can see this, you've got Cancer, which is your crab, which is, the crab is also B arc, because the Ark of the Covenant is under here. And also it was kept in this padlock is where the actual, on the foundation, is where the Ark would have been kept. Okay, so Cancer is C Crane. C Crane. Okay, so C Crane. So there's your Cancer constellation, but it also has G-Roost the Crane, and that's the fort that it's also named after. So those two tie up beautifully as well. Okay, so you've got number 2 is the Clan Melvin as well. So to break it down, G-Roost and Mel, that's your right. When you put it all together, you actually get, if you do it in reverse, you get Jerusalem backwards is, well, right. You get G-Roost G-Roost Lem written backwards. But when you do it, add the added letters and you go forward, it's Melvin A. Actually, squeeze that back up a bit. S-U-R. So that's your, so G-Roost, and then his surname G. So obviously the fort is also named after myself. That would be Guy. G is your map ID, Gumry, Mr. Guy. You can even put that in. And then we'll tie up the other part where the Marco, because the Marco at Melvin, you need to go to the constellation Taurus to get the full clue for that. Right. Okay, I'm just going to scrub these off. But right, next one is Carrow Hill. Well, this is C Arrow Hill. And this is why this symbol is actually on this as well. This with the H and thing. Because you've got the arrow and the hill is the H. So this is the H and arrow. This is the arrow that sits in there and fires off to Mablethorpe. Okay, and then it's so locking in Mon's key. So that would be King Solomon's key. If you fill it in completely, but I won't do that now. But basically, so there's your Carrow Hill. What is right, Mablethorpe? Right, I'm going to pause you again. Sorry, guys. Okay, right. The Pleiades obviously says please ID, so we need to pin it again. It's all to do with templates on the map. So the bow fires off and it hits Mablethorpe. Right. First thing to know is that this statement is made up of the 9 stars, because even though it's called the 7 Sisters, there's actually 9 stars. The father is called Atlas, so that's a big clue, and the mother is called Pleione, which is pretty much the Pleiade one, apart from the other. Right, we need to bind the sweet influences. So, firstly, the sweet influences are to tell you this is me. That's a fact. That's all it is. Not an ego trip. Honestly, I don't get it, but it is clearly there. But it says Pleiade. The other two are me-rope and sterope. If you know the word rope. And if you look there, you've got R-O-P-E, so you know that this is probably going to work anyway, whichever. But it says, this is how clever it is, because it makes a statement, but it doesn't it doesn't give you the answer, but the answer is written here. So it says PI1, I think this is probably to do with the dollar as well, with the plus UI number out of many 1. Again, it's me, for what reason, well, like I say, irrelevant. All C, you've got your C, which is your trick C, so locking in Mon's key, because that's where it comes from, or Mon's temple, whichever one you want to pick, or Mon's kingdom in general. All CE1 on Atlas. Well, on the Atlas is Montgomery, Mr. Guy. You've also got the name with Guyana, which I'll be going over again in a bit. And there's, well, my name's everywhere on this. You know why, I don't know, but it is. Okay, so it says I am. Well, and I am is when Moses sent. When Yah sent Moses in to rescue the Silures, not Israelites. They're not Israelites. They're not Israelites. They're actually Silures. He sends him down into Cornwall to go and rescue the Silures. And he tells him to tell Pharaoh, tell him, I am and I am sent you. He's basically giving him authority to speak on his behalf and warning it, you know, sort of speaking for and behalf of Yah, same as I'm doing, miraculously, but obviously true, because there's no way I could do all this. I am arc elect. Okay, the elect comes from electrum, is tried gold. White gold, it's called white gold there, but tried gold is called electrum. The elect is rum, so I'm the elect one of rum, electrum. Okay, well, what's missing from that? The name for Kyle went in Roman terms is Silu. Now, if you've seen my previous, you'll have to go, but it's Silu rum. I'm the Silu of rum, or G. In this case, it would be G Silu rum, but it's, you know, it's been changed to Venta Silu rum, but G Silu rum. So it's basically, that's how you get the tried by gold in fire. Okay, right, okay. And then it says, ye set me a rope, get rope at. Well, to bind these sweet influences, you use Mablethorpe. Because when you unscrabble this one, it says, rope be at Mel H. Well, Mel H is obviously where the arrow was fired from. So, without a shadow of a doubt, this absolute genius work on behalf of the creator, because there's nobody else that could do this. If you wish to take all the name stars in the 9 stars in the belt and check this, obviously you leave the Mablethorpe, the rope at Mel H out. But this is the sentence. No coincidence, because it just covers. You've got the trick C, you've got the Pleiades one of the dollar, you've got the C one on Atlas, Mr. Guy, and there's other ones on that. I am arc elect, sort of just saying I'm speaking on his behalf. He set me a rope, get rope. Well, the rope is what binds all the sweet influences, because I think the rope as well is what binds the arch and the key and the lock as well. So it gives you your R, G, your H. And also note that the G-Roos a crane needs a rope. And obviously I think the rope is to do with literally pulling people. It's giving you the rope for you to, you know, do the right thing, get your hands up, and then find your way to, when the time comes, which I don't think is a million miles away, is to find your way to the safe zone, basically. And if you're right with him, you'll get there. And, you know, and I just hope that a lot of people get to that, or get to I went at the time. Okay, bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, right. The next one is a symbol. This one you'll find again. I've broken most of them. There's the upside down dollar, the Celes, a Silu star, which is a Celes. Going back on the other video, but again, you've got the. I've decoded all this already. It makes a tau basically. I won't get into all of it, but right for this one. Right, firstly, this symbol sits. I believe it's here. It's at the bottom. That's why this relates to the cross is on top of it, and the Southern Cross. So it's the Southern Cross is the bottom one of this, basically pointing down. Okay, so what does this mean? Christians, you're not going to like this, but I ask you to look for truth, because obviously you've been indoctrinated into Christianity, and it's complete and utter lie. The whole thing is the curse of the land. They've covered up the real creator, and I'm here to basically put him. You know, he's obviously using my name, but I'm here to prove that he exists. He is very real, and he gives me this stuff just to show you, and it's all planned. and he's really showing things in ancient times that nobody else could have done. This isn't coming out of a book. He says, I create new works. And when he says he creates new works, he literally means he created it. He's put into the minds of men to call things, different places this, and they're you know, there's no man that could have been in any period that could have put all this in place. It has to be the creator. So, you know, this is the difference with this. Rather than me just saying to you, oh, I had a dream, or you know, and I see all these people prophesying stuff, and I just don't, but I literally just get the taken to the coordinates, literally. So I don't know how it happens, but it's like one-way telepathy. I don't know what you call it, but I don't speak to anyone. It just literally drops into my head to go there, or something will miraculously come up on my feed, as I'll demonstrate in a little bit on the next one. Well, this one did the same. I can't remember. Did this come up? It just came into my head like that, and when I went there, it was there. Right. Okay. Right. Firstly, let me go. Right. The stars in this one are called. I should have written these up really. The hardest part of this is sometimes it takes me there, but I got to actually unscrabble it. Well, if I get stuck, I ask for help, but it's still somehow it sort of like trains me to do it, to put it in the right order. But that's the only input I have on it really. Right. Okay. These are the 4 named stars in Crux, the Southern Cross. Right, well, firstly, I can tell you, this is to do with the get it spelled right. Right, it's to do with the crucifixion, and this will confirm it. What this is doing is taking a lie and putting truth, overlaying it with truth, or something. I don't exactly know how or why, but this is how it works. Right, the first thing you notice is crux. It's a CRU and then it's crossed out, right? Well, it's to do with crossing out a C, I can tell you that. But what we do is cross out a C. And this is telling it's fiction. It is absolute fiction. This crucifixion did not happen. Jesus cannot save you. He makes it quite clear that you have to save yourself. And there is no saviour. I am your God and your saviour. There is no other. Okay, and that's the whole reason, the purpose of this is just to prove that as well. Okay, right, so the message in this is, let me just draw a line. And I know this is crazy, and again, I'll show you a code that sort of sums up where I am with this, because I absolutely, to some degree, hate doing this with my name in it, because it looks like I'm on some sort of ego trip, which is, I am NARCO. I am Marco. I am G. G-Roos. Right, this is the confusing bit. It says, because, like I say, it's all coded letters, so it doesn't always make it IU. Right, so firstly, this IU bit relates to I am Marco, I am Jerusalem. It's telling you that Jerusalem, well, effectively, Jerusalem decodes to my name. That's what it does. I haven't done the full part of it, but you'll see how this all connects shortly. I've done it in a previous video with G-Roos the crane, but right, bear with me a second. So right, and then it says double XAC, double XAC. Right, okay. It's a little bit complex because to work out which way round this goes. But what it's telling you is to double X a C. Well, we've got 2 C's, so we double X them basically. And what we're left is Ruoi Fixion. Right, now, if this says I am Marco, I am G-Roos. So this is G-Roos. So what you do is you replace the C with a G, then you've got your R, the U, then you've got the S. So this is this represents the G-Roos. And then it says, then you've got I, so we've done that one, I G-Roos. Then it's I F-I-X-O-N. Right, it's IG roots I fix on. But now this is where the brilliance of this comes in, because this is where this M comes in. And what you have, what it tells you is IG roots I fix mon. And it's obviously I am Marco, I am G-Roos, and I am fixing mon, and that's how the code breaks down. But tell you, what it's doing is just saying this crucifixion, X didn't happen. Southern Cross is because it's at the bottom. I think it's also fallen because they're obviously telling, well, they're just lying. There is no G. I think a man with the name Isu or something existed, was later changed to Jesus. The Romans have absolutely concocted, or somebody on behalf of them has concocted this story. I think it originates in England, in Canaan, hence why you have this in the New Testament being Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, Simon, even, you know, just no way, Jose, they all from the Middle East and dropped sticks and followed a man with a Spanish name. No, you know, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you've got to look at it in real terms. But this one as well, I get as well, is that this is the H on the Vatican. Well, that's his H with a cross stuck on top of him, like almost like a sword. I would say it's a double-edged cross. It's a sword as well. It's sort of killing off the H man. Well, Marco's H, that's where I am now. Caution. Marco's H, the key at Llambelin even points to caution, literally, if you follow it. And then, miraculously, if you keep following it, it hits directly on top of the Great Pyramid of Giza as well. Pinpoint on the top and the head of the Sphinx behind it. So, you know, and there's obviously messaging I've done in that previously, but you could not make this up. Okay, so that's the second one. Okay, folks, just a quick one I was given as well, just so you know that my David at VID is not just a coincidence. There's actually a message written in, right, on the river, this is the river Severn. Okay, now off this you've got 3 rivers. It's better than this. It practically pinpoint triangulates between the Y, the Usk in Newport, River Usk, and then you've got the River Avon in Bristol. Okay, and then you've got the Severn in the middle. Right, okay, so there is a hidden code and message, unbelievably, in this one. Bear with me, let me just pull it up. Right, it says, just to prove that that it's not a fluke, that I'm not making up the David bit. It says, you saw V on key. Well, key is Llambelin, it's in the shape of a key, it's the fort in the shape of, literally in the shape, not that type of key, more modern than that, it's one for a padlock. But the key fort is Llambelin. So again, we've got the C that overlaps here, and then you've got, so you've got Clan Melin. On the key fort, its name is Clan Melin. You add the V and you get Clan Melvin. So it says, you saw V on key, and that's written in the name of the rivers. You've also got, this side is Mon. This says Brit Sol. When you break it down, Brit Sol, and then you just connect it with the moon sign. And you've got Brit Solomon. So Solomon being a Brit, being a British. Well, he is his Coelin ap Caraddoc. All a codec, go and pray. That's what his name says. But again, that's another different code again. But just a nice, beautiful little key. Oh, and then you've got Sinar V, the rendezvous point for the meeting of the tribes. Well, the key unlocks that's the lock. So when you put the key in the padlock, you open it up and you find the centre of the safe zone, basically, all written in the Cancer constellation as well, just to prove this is no coincidence and it's all there by design. Okay. Okay, another piece of magic on the Matrix map tricks. There's a place called 14 Locks, High Cross in Newport. Okay, this has absolutely amazing code in it. It says, Lock. Foxy with 4H. SEE. RGH. Newport is Newport. SOS. Okay, so lock C in 4H. Well, lock C is so locking in Solomon's key in 4H, or lock in temple, sorry. Lock C in 4, locked into Solomon's temple in 4, Lam Melling H. C Royal Gwent Hospital, so this is your RGH of your 3 parts I arch, where I was born, the Royal Gwent Hospital, Newport, and obviously I was sent as an SOS. This is written in the Sacramento Code. Without going back at it, the basic message in Sacramento is Marco sent to SOS me a remnant. Just to put it in perspective, again, it's just locking these things in so you know that this is not an accident either. The forts locking in, none of it. The SOS, Sacramento, it just literally ties. Again, these are just map trick codes that tie all this together, put it beyond any doubt that it's actually put there for a reason. Okay, 2 seconds. Okay, folks, back to Solomon's symbology. This one just came up on my feed and instantly I knew exactly what it meant. Unbelievably, but it really locks everything together. Obviously we've got the 3 parts I arch and everything else, and I realised the Royal Arch is Cancer as well, but obviously this tries to bring it together. Now, what you've effectively got is Tau means completion. In the Hebrew alphabet it's called Tav, but I think the Hebrew alphabet is a big deception personally. I can't be certain on it, I'm not sure the thing, but Welsh didn't come from Hebrew, Hebrew came from Welsh, and that's why there's a 15% root language in it. I have no doubt on that. The Welsh, Brittonic Welsh, I think, is a sort of a mixture of what we would now Common English and Welsh that over time has been separated. But I think this was the original language of the world, basically, of everything. Tau also is Uat. Well, so this would say Uat, H. Well, H is the H-man. Right, just to show you quickly with H-man on a map. Right, okay. You've got it, basically, in the land, you've got a spear. Right, and it goes like this. Right, it's probably better looking than that on the map, but what this does, right, on map coordinates, this is made up, right. When I got Melchizedek, I can't remember to spell it, but it's Mel Seek H ID, that's what it is. It was also written hid as well. It's also that has always been written in the word hid, incredibly. But C-Mel, so locking in Solomon's key. Mel is obviously melling, seek HID. Right, now this is where it gets incredible. Okay, this is melling. This is the key. Okay, right by the key is a place called Dinham. Dinham. Okay, right, when you unscramble this, it says ID H-man. This is now inside the American, or the former American Army base where the dollar sits over, and that they basically shifted everyone out. And funny enough, my Melvin Robert, my grandfather and grandmother, actually lived there in this village. It's sort of somewhere around there. But basically it's so you've got dynamite H man. If you follow the line from the key and you follow the route of the key, it actually takes you to Corsham, which is also Marco's H. As I say, if you keep following it, it's the top of the Great Pyramid of Giza as well. But this is where I am now, is Corsham. That's an anagram of Corsham. I'm also at Eastleigh's, a place called Eastleigh's Corsham, which is Yes Atlas. So it's Yes Atlas, Marco's H. Right, so even if you follow the key that way, if you follow the broken key, it goes to Keynsham, which says Keys H man. And then there's a place up north, up here somewhere, called Kenny's Commander, which when you unscrabble that, it says Marco mends me keys. Marco mends me key, sorry. Right, okay, so what are the coordinates? Well, this is Chester, which is, I'm just going to use the unscrabbled version, you can check it yourself, secret H. This is Chesterfield, which says secret if lead H. This is much Wenlock. In fact, and what you do, obviously once you unlock the H and you drop the H in it, it's much Wenlock. Okay, that's this point here. So you've got Melin, and which is Clan Melvin as well. Melvin, Oily H man, Marco's H goes off there wherever it is in the West Country where I am at this point. That's where I work. Secret if lead H is Chesterfield. Secret H is Chester. This is Eccles, Manchester. Right, which is, right, Eccles is, right, the book of Ecclesiastes is a code, and it says, set as Eccles, that's Ecclesiastes, and then it's obviously Eccles Manchester, and Manchester is secret H man. I'm not going to get a chance to draw this up, I did do one earlier. Right, now, you follow this along and it hits a place on near Berwick on Tweed, and this is called Holy Island. Well, when you change Holy Island around, it says, because it's not a holy island, I don't think, or possibly, I don't know, but land, that's island, is holy. So the Holy Land, or what it's pinpointing is a melon, land is holy. This is Holy Land, and obviously it is, and it's where it is. So just a quick breakdown. And then you also get, right, in the Old Testament, there's a passage in Daniel that says, Mene, mene, tekel up farsi. No one has ever broken this code, but it's an English anagram. And it says, unmap 10, this is the tribes, 10 tribes, unmap 10, seek Melin here. Well, well, on my big map, that pyramid also doubles up as a tent. And these are why you have guy ropes. Obviously, guy ropes to guide you in, as well as being a pyramid. It also doubles up as a tent. And then what you have are the flap. When you make the Solomon's triangle, these now represent flaps. This is bigger, obviously. Folds up. These fold in, and then so these would be flaps, and they fold in. But when you open the flaps up, what you're doing is revealing all the secrets and the G and everything else that is hidden inside the tent. So that's what it was. So Mene, mene, tekel farsi. It's also the writing on the wall for Babylon, because this hand comes out the wall from nowhere, apparently, like a ghost hand, I suppose, and writes on the wall and tells King Nebuchadnezzar, which I've unscrabbled his statue as well, tells Nebuchadnezzar it's basically the writing on the wall for Babylon. This is where we are right now. But it says, your kingdom has been numbered and found wanting. Well, the number in the kingdom is when I put the tribes on there, the number of the tribes. It's like 1, 2, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Either way, I labelled them basically, and all the uncoded lost tribes of his rule, not Israel, his rule, the land of his rule. But basically, it's all unmapped 10, seek Melin here. Well, Melin is in the tent. Okay, so Just so you know that this is no coincidence either. Meeny, meeny, tackle up fasting and map 10, seek Melin here. When you go to Melin and you seek Melin here, it says see Mel, seek HID. So it instructs you to find the secret H-man. Well, then what you do is you make this giant spear. The word seraphim as well, which is an angel, says I'm spear H. So it's like an angel spear as well, pinpoints the Holy Land. The key then points off and tells you, yes, Atlas Marcos H, that's where the key points to. And also the G is your map ID, the Giza Pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is your angel all in a belt. Okay, just pause you there a second. Okay, folks, just quickly as well. Right, it's called the Royal Arch Triple Tower because when you break the T in this into three, effectively you get three T's. So what we're looking for are three completions basically to give you well, and to be honest, it's to identify. I'll tell you now, it's to identify the H-man, and it absolutely amazing. This is used by the Knights Templar, this symbol as well, because they're the ones, you know, this is all involved in the cover-up and the hiding and the murdering in the Middle East, whatever they did to take this place and call it Jerusalem. And they're obviously the crucifixionators, that's why they're called crusaders, because and it's all a lie. Right, okay, right, bear with me, because, right, this is quite complex. So I'm going to break it, there's three parts to this, and I'm going to try and simplify it as best as I can. Okay, bear with me a second. Okay, so we're looking for a triple toe or triple completion. Okay, right, the first one, is the first toe is a name. And what this represents, you've got the Clan Melvin. If you remember as well, there was a message. The tail is like an odd shape like this. Basically, the message was Siluri Angel, C end Regenesis, and then you've got a Z that end, and you put the I that end. And this is all from that triangle with got C, Z, C goes in the middle, overlays clan. So then you've got the clan, then you add the VID, so you've got the Clan Melvin. And this should be longer, bear with me. You've got Clan Melvin, so that's obviously my family clan type thing. Then you've got the G, which is obviously the centre of the symbol. This is where the G is. There's the C. There's the Z because it's that says end Regenesis. I'll just put end, but it says end Regenesis. And the numbers on this are made up of you basically anagram the numbers. There's an 8, a 9, and a 3. So the three tribes, decoded tribes of those numbers are the Regenesis, the Siluri, and the Deciangli, which are obviously three Welsh tribes of the 10 lost tribes. You've got obviously got the Melin and all the symbology that goes with it, something like that. So you've got C Melin, and so this Z goes on the end. Oh, then there's with the numbers is where is it? I think the I is here. There's something like the 8, the 9, and the 3, or whatever it is. But basically, I've done it on a previous one, but basically when you do it, it gives you the message. Siluri Angel, C end, Regenesis. Well, Regenesis is a restart. Well, it's an end and a restart. That's what we're aiming at, and that's where we're going with all this. But what it does, it makes up, and what it does, you put it in the shape of the toe. And then what you have then you put your, remember Marco keeps Ankh, frees H. So once I free the H, what I do is you overdress the Ankh, because the Ankh is obviously there. It's like what it is. He says it gives him new robes. So it gives you give it new robes, and then you've got the H and the crown. It also acts as the chess piece on the board, the final king. Don't ask me, but that's what it is. And when you put the toe and Ankh together, it says a thank you. So it's like a thank you, I guess, for completing the whole thing or whatever. But okay, so that's how you get the first. This is the beginning of the tau. That's why I call it a tau H, because that one connects to clan. That's the clan Melin. That one relates to clan Melvin, even though it ties up completely. Then you go to Jerusalem, and you've got your Solok in C and everything else. It's obviously named after the crane, so this gives you your G as well. Jerusalem, but then Jerusalem, when you reverse it, you get G-Rus-A-Lem, or reverse it, it says Mel A Sir G. Well, you fill in the blank and it says Melvin A surname G. Well, Melvin, obviously, that's my father and my grandfather's, both their names actually, but this is to do with me. And the Vinland name, when you anagram that, it says vine man. So Jesus clearly is not the vine man, because the vine is the siluri that holds the mel, that grows on the mel tree, which is the elm tree. And this is the uprooted tree and then replanted. This is what Yah talks about. Okay, so right, to complete it, because you need a triple, what you've got to do is you've got to go to Taurus. Taurus is Tau Rus, so completion of Rus. So to complete this name and this whole code on the first part of the the triple tau, you need to go and what you do, you unscrabble the message from all the stars there again, and what the message says: you ran Guyana map and secret I hid in. I think it is actually that I hid in. That was it. The secret that I hid in. Bran the lead. Well, King Bran is Bran the Blessed, who ruled from Lan Melin, and Caradoc's father, so David's father basically, or King David's father. Bran, King of Britain, King of Siluria. Siluria it didn't just run the area, they ran the entirety of Britain. Okay, but right, you ran Guyana map and secret I hid in. Well, in Guyana, I've gone through it again, on the land, basically, you could make it up. Literally, you take the pinpoints of the you take these cities on these places, and you get this, and you get a complete message, and you also get the constellation picture of G-Rus the crane. That's what the constellation looks like. What you have, I'm not going to write it all in, but you've got a guy in a city, is Guyana City. And a city. Right, now this is one of the brightest stars, this is the brightest star, this is one of the brightest stars, this one. That's because these are countries. And what you do is you put, that one is Ghana, which is a guy. This is Suriname, which is surname I. That place actually exists. I've done this before, but I'll do it quickly. This place is called Roraimi, which is Raw I Am. If you want to see the names and everything on the map, just go back down a few videos. And this one is a place called Amapa. Amapa, so it's it's a mapper. But it also but it also doubles up as a up. Why is whoops? Sorry. Right, a up. Right, what does that mean? So this place here is called Bemel. Oh, sorry, Belem. I'm going to switch it, and it says, but effectively it says Bemel. Okay, so Ama Ap Bemel. Okay, this is Soa Silu, So Silu. It says Soa Silu, which is the Siluri, which I am. That would be my tribe. And the last one is Fortaleza, which is Seal a Fort. Seal a fort. Well, you don't see it any better than drawing a picture of the constellation it's named after in the land, with all the clues, including my name and the message. So it's a guy in the city and a guy, surname I, raw I am, a mapper. Ama Ap, Bemel, and so was Silu, Seal a Fort. But the secret they hid in is just above Belem, or which is Bemel, is a little place called Marco. So you couldn't make it up. So Ama Ap, so it's Marco Ap Mel. That's what that is. And when you drop the Marco Ap Mel, what you pull from the entire code for Jerusalem is Marco Ap. Then you've got Melvin A surname G, which is Guy, obviously. So you've got my entire title. If you include Gumry as well, you can actually fill in the Guy and even the Mr. at the beginning. You've got Mr. Marco at Melvin, a surname Guy, Gumry. So set number 1 of the triple tau of the Royal Arch as well, which is, well, we'll come to that next. This is how you pull all the code together, and what it does, the first part, so number 1, set 1 is a name. Okay, I'll just hold you there a second. Okay, just one other. Obviously, I got most of this tonight, actually, or the bulk of it. Again, brilliant timing. But right, there's also an upside down T, as you can see. This is one of what this also relates to the same first set tau in the name. And what? Let me just. I'll just show you how it fits on a map. This is basically South America. You get the bit that joins with Honduras and all. It's called Mesoamerica. That is part of the code. So it's almost a title. So Mesoamerica, which is ancient America, is the name given for ancient America with all the pyramids and everything else, because it shows you things in ancient times. So when they come to happen, you know we did it. Okay. Then you go. So what you do during the dot from Panama City, it goes through a place called Medellin. Then it hits Colombia. And then all you do, you draw a line, and it goes directly through. These are countries. There's probably a constellation that goes with this. I don't know. But as you can see, it meets at Guyana City. So what you would have from there, this actually would then connect to the crane as well. And obviously all the code I just showed you that goes along with it. But just to show you that this is almost like the crane is G Rooster crane holding an upside down T, which is another part of the name. And I will show you now. But on the map, this is how it sits. You draw a line from Peru through Ecuador. It literally goes straight through to Venezuela, to Guyana City. So the top of Peru crosses Colombia, Venezuela, coming down, got Panama City, Medellin. Right, bear with me. I'm going to write this up and show you the amazing Atlas message that's encoded in this one. Okay, folks, again, to put this beyond any doubt that this is all coincidence, I've already unscrambled them because I'm not going to have time to go through all of it together, so I'm going to have to do it a little bit quicker. Mesoamerica says, see, I am Marco, okay? Panama City and Mapa City, this also directly leads, if I can actually connect as well, directly to Guyana City or Guyana City. But on this one, we'll go with Panama City and Mapa City. Medellin is Lead Melon. Obviously, that's Clan Melvin. Right, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, and Venezuela. A pure coda, UBA column. That's to do with the 2 pillars of, when you combine the 2 pillars of Solomon, and that is why I think the Masons have got a 3rd pillar. They always show 3 pillars, but the 2 main pillars, Joachim and Boaz, or Yachim and Boaz, see him as a boy, obviously in relation to the house, and then you've got the Royal Gwent Hospital. Right, so UBA column, I see value. Right, the reason it says I see value is because, like I say, I hate putting my name into things, but the value in it is that obviously, like things like this, just prove beyond any reasonable doubt that this is impossible to be coincidence, and you have to ask yourself, how do I even find these things? Because this is obviously South America where this constellation is, and I didn't really look. I didn't look for it. I just found it. I don't even know how. I can't really remember. But obviously, anyway, the place it connects in Venezuela, which is I see value, or with the N somewhere else gone, is Guyana City, which is a Guyana City. Then you've got Guiana's and a Guy. Then you've got Suriname, surname I, Raw I am. Raw I am a mapper. And then, as I showed you, got the mapper, the female, so are you, and seal of Fortaleza. So just to show you, and that then ties up set 1 in no uncertain terms, that is a complete tau, and even shows the symbol of when you do it on a map, it actually does it as an upside down T that literally connects to connects to the crane constellation on the map. Okay, like I say, pinpoint these, you can try them yourselves, but there we go. So that's tau number 1. Okay, folks, set 2. Okay, the name is the first set. The second one is the promise, the home at birth and the birthplace. As you can see, I've drawn it all up. This is the Cancer constellation in the original KEY triangle. Canaan, Egypt, Judea. Obviously, you've got the Sikh and everything else that goes with it. I've already broken that down. What you've got is the land of Ab. Ab is father. Now, the land of my fathers, but Welsh people sing it without even realising how true it is. But see, in Daniel, he also, in the book of Daniel, I'm assuming it's Yas, says something about a talent of lead. Well, the periodic table code for lead is PB. And what that is switching a P for a P and a B. So what you have is in Welsh, they've got rid of the ab, but they've kept the ap. And what this is father to son, father to son, father to son. But Ab is Aberystwyth. Basically, the code on it is the land of Abs. It's basically Wales. If you go on a map of Wales, anybody who's not familiar with it, it's Aberystwyth, Aberdare, Abergavenny, there's just so many of them. And this is the part of the code of Abraham. Okay, Ra is Cornwall. The cornerstone of Egypt is on a corn wall. And Ra, that's what it is. Ab Ra, and then the land of Ham, Southampton, Corsham, even Melksham, I don't know, Southampton. Yeah, there's just tons of Ham in England, and this is obviously Ham was sent into Canaan as well, and it's all part of the same code because it's all encoded over the actual story of what happened, I'm assuming. Okay, so Jacob is represented by the lock. Why is this? Because Yachim Boaz says, see him as a boy. Jacob is see a boy. Y-A-C-O-B, Jacob. So Jacob is see a boy. So you can see a boy and see him as a boy. And as a boy, I lived in this house here, not 20 foot, as I said, from this lock in the temple grounds, effectively. That's where I lived when I was born. Okay. Right, then you go the 3 parts I arch. Okay, well, this is the promise. So the promise, this is the original triangle. And what Yah promises to Abraham is that he would keep all his future generations safe, basically, and make sure that his seed carried on type thing. And we're at that, somewhere near that point of, well, we just are. Okay, but he also makes the promise to Isaac and Jacob as well. Jacob later becomes Israel, or Israel becomes Siluri. This is all part of the code. It's not Israel, it's Israel. But even if you take Israel, it would make it Israel. So there we go. So and right, Isaac is also Cas. Well, when the 3 patriarchs, that's what these are called, the 3 patriarchs. Is code in itself. It's 3 parts I arch. Well, the 3 parts you arch is the royal arch of Cancer, which is my birth sign, obviously. I was born on the 30th of June 1970. And then you've got the G for Jerusalem and the Melin H, and this is why I've been calling this the GH to tie the lock and the key together. But I think you can use this, bind this rope around it as well, maybe with a bow, I'm not too sure, possibly. But either way, then you get the RGH. Well, the RGH is where I was actually born, the Royal Gwent Hospital, Royal G Gwent Hospital. I don't know. See a boy is Cas, is real. Well, Cas is Cas Newid. Newport is called, in Welsh, is Cas Newid. If I use the WD as a TH, as you would in Welsh as well, you actually get thy new Cas. So that's probably, I'm assuming that's part of the code as well. The see him as a boy is the Trixie, so locking in Mon's temple. Well, this is Mon's temple, which is literally 20 foot away from the house that I was born in. So set 2 of the Tau code, yeah, the 3 patriarchs is the promise, the home, and the birthplace. I've just told you there. Just quickly, I've just realised this one, but it's pretty obvious, really, but not well. I've just realised that this royal arch, this is called the keystone with a Cancer symbol in it. Well, this is also code as well, because the key represents Melin and the stone represents the lock. The lock is obviously in the foundations made of stone in the stone city as well of Jerusalem. So is the keystone to the royal arch of Cancer. So there we go. That's that one. Sorry. Okay, folks. So set 3 is the birth sign. So what you've got on the symbology, you've got the 7 stars, which is the Pleiades or the Pleiades. There's another code in Seven Sisters as well. I can't think what that is. Something about set on the 7. But for now, excuse me, you've got the Pleiades is an anagram of Pleiades. Then you've got the sun with the face on it because it's the sun. It's using the sun obviously as a double up for the sun. Then you've got the moon, the full moon. Obviously, when the moon comes to the full, obviously it brightens up, and obviously it makes obviously it highlights the combination safe code and the safe area for the end times. But it's effectively the moon sign, and obviously then the last one, and the royal Cancer sign or the royal arch is Cancer. Also makes up obviously it's the star map from the actual pillars themselves. So what you effectively get is Pleiades, sun of the moon sign in Cancer, who literally uses the stars, the 2 pillars, the stars and the thing to create the safe zone and so on and so forth. Obviously, until you wake up, I woke up, I was a crescent moon. It's like the moon sleeping. But crescent moon, I think it's this way round, is secret C on Mon, which as you see is so locking in Mon's temple, so locking in Mon's key, so locking in Mon's kingdom, and it's the whole thing with it's the trick C. So the third part, and this is I was obviously born 30th of June 1970. So I was born in the moon sign Cancer. And when I woke up at 50, sort of give or take halfway or whatever it is, and I woke up and then obviously I discovered all this and everything, and here I am. I don't get it. I don't know why it's me, but obviously something went on before I got to this world, and not that I've got any memory of it, but I just don't even know how to argue. I can't even find a chink in this because it just seems to be coded from one end to the other. And this is basically, so your royal arch, triple tau. The triple tau is basically made up. The first tau is the name, the second tau is the promise, the home and the birthplace, and the third tau is the birth sign. That's how I would, but obviously there's so much code, even to get to to find even the other bits has taken probably thousands of different codes, and no way on earth can all this be coincidence when you tie it all together. And just to top it off as well, I'll just scrub that quickly just to finish up this video because I am running a little late, hence probably why I'm rushing a little bit, but I hope this uploads because it's my second attempt now. But just to top it off, so you've got in that thing, you've got trick, you've got trick C, or C trick C, adds me temple, which is temple meads. This is all made up of 4 place names as I did the original trick C. Adds me temple, trust book, which is the atlas. I've already done that one. Trust book and keeps word. Well, he keeps his word because he's keeping his promise, and that's what keeps word. So that comes from Crick Sudbrook, Port Skewett, and Temple Meads, Bristol. Okay, well, as I said, and I don't think we're completely complete, but adds me temple. So if I add me and temple, we're not quite complete because there's a few other little bits and pieces and signs. Who knows? I don't know what comes from this, but it says this is probably to do with the Royal Arch Triple Tau, actually. I don't think it matters too much about the other symbology, although I'm sure I'll break it. But just in case there's any doubt, there we go. I think this is probably a good place to do it. So set 1 is the name, set 2 is the promise, home, birthplace, set 3 is the birth sign. So this is the Royal Arch Triple Tau, and then you've got all the tricksy and everything else, and I'm completer. So I'm the completer of the triple set of the thing. So I just hope everybody that you can see that there is absolutely no way on this earth that this is coincidence. Again, I don't know why it's me, and I really don't. but clearly there's a little bit more to this than goes on. All I will say is you need to get right, stand in the letter Y, unlock, you know, obviously again, like I say, this is the upside down version of the safe zone. That's me with my head down, feet together, hands up, sins on palms. I pray. Then comes the messages. However, I've made the connection. It's given me the safe zone, written in Cancer and everything else, even my birth sign. But this is how you pray. Put your head down, put your sins on your palms, and just offer them up, and just ask for forgiveness, and just help to make, you know, help to understand all this and get right before the coming, what is coming. But on that note, I'm going to leave it there, guys and girls, because I've got people coming shortly, and I really need to go and open the gate. Take care till next time, and Yah's blessings to you all.